Hello, I'm Carrie O'Shea Gorgon, and this is Appfire Presents, the best work management show by Appfire. Today, we're going to address the question, what are some leadership tips for enhancing my team's productivity? And to help us with that is one of the best leaders and managers I know, Katie Robbert, co-founder and CEO of the data firm Trust Insights. So stick around for a valuable, action-packed 10 minutes.
Appfire Presents, the best work management show by Appfire.
So Katie, let's get right to the good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the first tips, actually one of the first questions that I always get is, how do I delegate more? How do I give my team more to do and help them be productive? And then the flip side of that is, how do I not feel like I have to micromanage everything? And so the answer to both of those questions is by having consistent and well-documented processes for your team to follow, because then you, as the leader, you don't need to micromanage what they're doing. As long as they're following the process and getting the consistent outcome that's expected, you've set the expectations of what it is you want them to do. You've set the expectations of what it is that they need to do to be successful. And then they have basically that plan to follow, which should also give them more time for professional development, for taking on new and exciting projects.
New anyway.
Well, yeah, I mean, theoretically. So that would be my first piece of advice for any leader, is make sure that your expectations are clear. So if you're someone who's struggling to delegate because, nobody can do it the way that I want to do it, you're the problem. You need to be explicitly clear about what it is that you're after and how it's done, so that somebody can follow that recipe and say, okay, now I can do it. And then you as leader, have more free time to actually do leadership type things. And then the team can then, produce and scale. You can bring on more people to scale the team, because everything is consistent. It doesn't work for everything. There are going to be obviously some projects. So then you just look at opportunities within the, different projects that you do, some stuff that you do internally, what can be automated, what is a consistent process for us. I mean, that's sort of the big non-secret secret to productivity, is consistency and repeatability. And so by knowing what's expected to happen and not just sort of making it up as you go every day, that's how you get the team to be more productive. They have their set of expectations. You have your set of expectations, and everybody can just get the work done without it being confusing.
So if we're taking a fresh look, like if a leader wants to take a fresh look at their team today and what they're doing, and it doesn't necessarily seem like they're underperforming, but you suspect maybe you could do more. First step is figure out what everybody's doing, and then.
Well, sure.
Hey, what would you say you do here?
So figure out what everybody's doing, but it's interesting. There's a lot of tools. So when I say document what you're doing, I don't mean you necessarily have to sit there with a piece of paper and a pencil and write down step 1, step 2, step 3. There are a lot of tools on the market that will record what you're doing, how long things are taking. They will create that standard operating procedure for you while you're doing the thing. And then you as the leader can go back and review and say, okay, it looks like this is where someone's getting caught up. Is there a way to make this part of the process more efficient? Or it looks like I have 5 people doing the same thing and not a single one of these people does it the same way. Is that an opportunity to sort of tighten up a little bit more of what the team does, so that there is more consistent processes across what everybody's doing? And again, it sort of goes back to, if I know what I'm supposed to do, I can just go ahead and do it, and it's not going to take me that long. But if I'm spending my time researching and figuring it out and asking questions, which is all valid, that's also part of the learning, that's going to take more time to do the thing. And so if you have someone on your team who's been doing the same role for the same task for a while, but they're still getting caught up in asking questions and things are confusing, that's a really good opportunity to take a look at how it's being done. And, you can get, I think Tango is an example, of a piece of software that will just record, with your permission, what you're doing on your computer and put together that documentation for you.
We at Appfire have many amazing apps that could do similar things. So
I would be surprised if you didn't.
Check out appfire.com/solutions, everybody. So the first step then is you figure out what people are doing, you document what's happening currently, look for opportunities or repeat tasks, things that can be automated or at least like maybe centralized.
Mhm.
And then what's next? So now you've kind of figured out the landscape the way it is right now. How do you figure out where the opportunities are to get bigger, better things done?
So once you have that repeatability and consistency, then you can start to either do more of that thing. So for example, if you're a firm like mine and you do a lot of Google Analytics implementation, when we first started a few years back, it was okay. We think that this is the best way to do it. And after we've done it a few times, we have it really down to a system where we know how long it's expected to take. We know all of the different gotchas that might happen or issues that might come up. We've done our work to troubleshoot those. And so now we can say, all right, we know that this from start to finish, just for the sake of argument, takes 1 hour to do. So in 1 hour, we can do it complete. How many hours do we have free? Therefore, how many more of these projects can we bring in and, have it be repeatable and consistent and profitable? So I have 5 extra hours in my schedule. Great. I can take on 5 more of these projects and bring in another X dollars of revenue.
Another way that I've heard you talk about in the past, your kind of philosophy has to do with rewarding individual contributors, not necessarily with a promotion to management, but some other way. And I have to think that that would keep your team productive because you're keeping those key players performing.
That's exactly it. I think one of the mistakes I've seen at companies that I've worked at and companies that have been clients of mine is the only path of upward mobility for some of their team members is to step into a management role. And not everybody's meant to be a manager. My best friend's husband, he's been a software engineer for 20 some odd years, and they keep telling him, in order to move up, you have to be a manager. And he keeps pushing back saying, I don't want to be a manager. I don't want to lose the ability to be in the weeds with the work that I'm doing. I don't want to have to take on the responsibility of being responsible for everybody else's success. It's not for everybody, and that's not a bad thing. Don't force someone into a management role who doesn't want to be there, because they will not be a good manager and you are not setting them up for success. And so, back to your question, Carrie, about productivity, it's finding the strengths and weaknesses within each person on your team and yourself to say, is this person moving in the correct direction, or am I forcing them to go down a road that they don't want to go down? I am better as a team manager than I am as an individual contributor, mostly because I'm bossy and nosy and I can't stay out of everybody's business. And so I'm better suited in that role.
But you're not a micromanager.
Because of all of the processes and consistency. So I know when my co-founder, when my data science team is doing things, I know what they're doing. They've been doing it the same way. And so if I start to get a different result, I know that somebody deviated from the script or couldn't find the process and was just sort of making it up. And that's an opportunity for me as the manager to intervene and say, okay, what's not working here? And it's never, what did you do wrong? It's always, what's not working? What expectation did I not set for you? And so, in terms of, it's interesting. A simple tip in terms of team productivity, take away the blame. Give people the benefit of the doubt and just try to understand where they're coming from before you go marching in and saying you're doing it wrong, because you as the manager are part of that equation. You're part of why it went wrong.
We have core values at Appfire, and one of them is that getting it right is more important than being right. And you see it played out every single day the same way. So if you had one single piece of advice you could give that would help leaders get the best from their teams, what would it be?
It would be to first look at yourself and make sure that you as the leader are setting appropriate expectations. If I turn to you, Carrie, say, and, I need you to do this thing. I don't have time to explain it to you. I'm not setting you up for success, and you're likely going to struggle to do the thing. And then I'm going to get frustrated and be like, you didn't do it exactly the way that I wanted you to. You obviously can't do it. I'm the problem in that situation, not you. And so leaders need to look at themselves first and then look at what the team is doing.
Trustinsights.ai if you want to get more insights into what your team is doing and where there's opportunities for automation that might potentially help you and other things you can do to get more productivity. So thanks, Katie, for joining, and thanks everybody for joining us on the Best Work Management Show by Appfire. You can find more episodes at hub.appfire.com and plenty of very fine time tracking apps as well, among other things, at appfire.com/solutions. So we'll see you next time on the Best Work Management Show.